Welcome back. So let's face it, your clutter is a mismatch of your past from ancient history of what happened last week, and it can keep you from moving forward. Dr. Nikki Crawford of Your Peaceful Space is here to explain the top 4 reasons that we stay stuck in clutter. Now, I'm really anxious to find out what these 4 reasons are and why we can't break out of that so that we can live our best lives, as the kids like to say.
Yes. I think the first reason is fear, and I think that's the biggest reason. So when I'm working with people in their homes, what I hear the most is, I'm afraid I might need that someday. And so that's how we keep way too much stuff around us. It's really the rally cry for those of us who have too much stuff in our house. We're afraid to let it go because we might need it. And so if that kind of perspective has got too much stuff around you in your home, then ask yourself this question instead. What's the worst thing that could happen if I let this go?
I love that question because I was literally reacting because that's my excuse for not letting things go is, well, I might need it, or that may come back in style.
Yes. And that's all true. But there's something about knowing that you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
Even if you let it go.
I am going to be okay, even if I let that pair of shoes from like 2010 go.
You will, I promise. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, and why is being a perfectionist also a problem when we're trying to move forward in our lives?
Well, I think perfectionism is such a big deal because we've sort of held it up as this gold standard of how we should do everything. And when you stop and consider that there's no perfect way to declutter your house, there's no perfect way to have your house. In fact, there's no perfect way to do almost anything. And so that really keeps us from starting. People feel too scared to begin because they can't do it perfectly. And so you might consider in that situation, you know, can I just make it good enough for now? And then I can come back and refine it. But thinking about good enough for now really allows you to begin.
And that is something, right? Because it can be really overwhelming if you don't know where to start. So is what you're saying, you just got to pick up, go somewhere and start there.
Yes, and that's actually one of the 4 things is being so overwhelmed you don't know where to begin, right? So good.
Yeah, that's very relatable, I think, for all of us.
Yes, and so there you want to start in the easiest place you can imagine starting. And so for you, if it's your closet, if that feels hard, then don't start with your closet. Start with...
How'd you guess that the closet would be the hard place for me to start?
You might, if you do want to start in your closet, you might start with your belts.
Okay.
Or start with your socks, or start with the pantry, or one of the kitchen cupboards. Start somewhere where you don't have a lot of emotional investment in the items that you're dealing with.
Okay, and then what if we have the excuse of we don't have enough time, right? Because that's something that may seem a little daunting if you don't have the extra hour or 2 a week.
Right, and I think sometimes, especially when we have a lot of things, we feel like we need a whole weekend to deal with it. And so if you're not able to get to your clutter and deal with it in big chunks of time, then your other option is to deal with it in small chunks of time. Right? And so this comes from education, this idea of chunking, where you just break off little bits at a time. So even if you could work on it for 25 or 30 minutes most days, in a month, you will make a huge amount of progress.
Okay, well, Dr. Nikki, thank you so much for making this a whole lot easier to tackle some of those items.